Can we give Senator Lala a round of applause? Isn't she great? I too want to applaud our officers. Acting Major Davis, who I run with, is going to do. He's doing a great job. I'm going to do an even greater job. Let's give him a round of applause. And Acting Major Dickerson, can we give him a round of applause? They're stepping in a big shoes. You know, one of the things when we lose great officers and they retire, I always get mad when they retire. Like, oh, we need y'all. Don't be leaving us, none of y'all. We're taking your picture. We need you doing a great job. You heard crime was down, right?
Right.
Violent crime down and Prince George was down. These are the men and women that are making it happen. So I actually, and she's very nice, I actually asked Senator Lala to come on before me. I had called here ahead of time and asked him if I could go on and get out. Not because I didn't want to spend great time with you today, but because earlier today I had to take my wife to the doctor's. And so I said, well, you know, if I can get here and get back and get with her. And but then I saw the clip. And I think this is what happened, and Pat, you know this, you know, what happens is you get into your life. You know, for my daughters and my son and I, this is our life. So it is the new normal. Every day is the new normal. And so you don't really think about it, you know, as different. I get up at 5:30 in the morning, I get my wife dressed, I prepare everything for the day, then I go to work. I come home at night, I get her undressed, get her ready for bed. That includes everything from brushing her teeth, changing her, everything. She has no ability to do anything. And so you don't really think about that, that's just what you do. Until you actually see people doing it, and it reminds you. And so as I was looking at the clip there, and the people who were talking, and the gentleman talked about his wife being 55 when she was diagnosed. My wife is 48 years old. She's 56 this year, March 2nd. She can't walk anymore. She's not verbal. She looks amazing though. She looks absolutely amazing. And my girls, I'm getting off the story here, but I'll get back onto it. But my girls were afraid to go off, especially my youngest one, was afraid to go off to college. You know, because when my wife was officially diagnosed, when my daughter was 15 years old, she was in high school, I was county executive, and we were the caregivers. We, you know, I get the morning shift, she get the evening shift. She do weekends, I do nights. And that's how we rolled. But I said, you know, honey, you need to go on to college. You need to go away. And so one of the things they always call me, they're like, you know, for a couple of years, there was nobody in the house but my wife and I. And they said, well, God, you must be really lonely. And I said, you know, quite honestly, not. Your mother and I have a lot to talk about. They said, well, you know, they thought Dad was kind of losing it. But when you've been married to somebody 30 years, you communicate without communicating. You don't need verbal. I know what she's thinking. She knows what I'm thinking, and we have a great time together. But it is a change. And every day, I don't know what I'm going to walk into. And there were scary times during this journey. You know, I tell this story, and I'll make this brief. When I remember exactly the day we found out that she had early onset of dementia. It was 2010. I was about to make the third run for county executive. There was a debate that we had to go to that night. And as normal, as they said in the film, I went to her doctor. You know, because we've been doing this for 2 years because there was just something that wasn't quite right. She's wicked smart, you know, handled everything, but there was just something that wasn't quite right. And so for about 2 years, we had friends who were doctors, and they kept saying, you know, you need to take her back. You need to follow up, because she was passing all the brain exams. And this morning we walked in there, typical thing, and they gave her, you know, the exams, which are questions. And they asked her, you know, what she did this morning, and she said, you know, I got up, turned on the TV, everything going on. They said, what are your children's names? And she got mad. And she said, well, I don't know why he's asking me that. And she named the children. He said, what are their ages? She said, I don't have to answer that. He said, what are their ages? Then he said, when were they born? And she started crying, and I started crying, because she didn't know. And he turned to me and he said, he didn't even talk to her anymore, which made me mad. He turned to me and he said, she has early onset of dementia. And not knowing what that meant, I said, okay, what do we take? You know, it's medication, right? There's something. And he said, no, there isn't. I said, so what do I do? He said, you just live. And that started our journey. I went to, you know, her primary care physician. I said, you know, I got this diagnosis. What the heck did I do? I'm in the middle of this campaign. I said, should I quit? And he said the funniest thing to me. He said, you can't quit. I said, what do you mean? I said, you know, I don't know what's going to happen from day to day. He said, she's so wrapped up into this as part of your life, as part of our life, that if you don't run, she's going to know something's wrong and she had something to do with it. He said, now, you ain't got to win. He said, but you definitely got to run. And I started, and we did, and Gloria, you remember that? I mean, you guys remember she was part of the campaign, she was at the church, she was just happy as can be. And I say that to say, part of it is getting out, getting active, doing things, keeping them involved, keeping them in the job that they had. For the longest time, she would go with me to various centers, as long as she could. But as much as we could get her active, it delayed it. And then we get to Dementia Friendly America and the White House Initiative, which I love, and what we're doing here in Prince George's County, and the reason we're here tonight. We got it. I wanted to get involved in this because, you know, those who are caregivers and have, especially in the early stages of dementia, you run into things that in your normal walk of life you wouldn't, you know, think are strange or, you know, cause you problems. And I want to give you 2 examples of why this is important for us in the county to do and how personally it affected me and got me involved. So it really means dementia-friendly Prince George's County. I mean, we're aware. We're aware of folks around us who may be acting a little differently, who may need, you know, special attention, and the people with them. You can always tell a caregiver because they look kind of nervous when they're about to go into a store or go around here. But anyway, just making us more aware. That may mean making sure we have more family bathrooms. Never thought I would just be a proponent for family bathrooms until I was taking her on a walk on the mall in DC. She had to go to the restroom. I couldn't take her into the women's restroom, and I couldn't take her into the men's restroom because, like on there, she still looked like nothing was wrong, but I needed to take her to the bathroom. There was one family bathroom. So I'm stuck on the mall, there's one family bathroom, I have a person who's becoming agitated, and what I swore to myself then as county executive, when we're doing buildings, we take that into consideration. The other thing that made this important for us was, I also, you know, to get her out, I decided that, you know, what I'd like to do is take her to places she was familiar with. whether it was Williamsburg, where she went to law school, Howard University, where she graduated in the top of her class, or to Capitol Hill, where she spent the bulk of her working years. And so I decided to take her to the Visitor Center on Capitol Hill. And, you know, at the time, my wife wore a lot of jewelry. And as the disease progressed, she put more and more jewelry on. There was like tons of this stuff. You know, it was everywhere. It was all up here, all down here. So I'm walking into Capitol Hill, you know, and just because I want to be able to get in, not have anything go wrong, because she was very irritable at the time, I'm taking off tons of jewelry, you know, and it's hard getting it off her because she thinks I'm stealing it. I said, no, honey, I ain't stealing it. I'm putting it in here. And I walk into the metal detector. And the guy's like, I said, I'm trying to explain to him in a nice way without saying, you know what, my wife is sick. I said, well, I really need to, and I'm county executive, you know, but I'm down there, you know, trying to handle it. I said, I really need to kind of be with her. He said, come on through, come on through. So I said, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna walk. I walked through and I said, honey, you walk right beside me. And I go through, of course, you know, put everything through there. She comes through and the thing dings. Yeah. And they were like, she's got to go back. And this point, can you imagine? Just imagine this. This is why this is important. She's in the middle of this thing. It's dinging. This guy is yelling that she has to go back. I'm trying to tell them something. She's just now lost it. Because something's on her. And I said, let me explain it to you. And then we're getting to this discussion. I'm trying to get to her because she's now freaking out. And I'm getting mad, thinking, you know. And finally, one of the security guards, police officers comes over, and he could see there's something quite not right with her ability to follow direction. And he said to me, or said to them, he said, no, just let her come in. And at this point, I'm crying and mad and don't know what to do, and, you know, I'm mad at everything. I'm mad at the disease, I'm mad at these people, I'm mad nobody understands, and I'm mad that they ruined my day, excuse my language. I'm just mad, because it's unfair. That is why the president recognized that we have to be more aware. If we want people not to hide in the shadows, if we want families to be as normal as they can, their new normal, then we have to be prepared to deal with it. It is why, as I close, you will see me. Now, my wife, those who knew her in school, those who knew her, LaVon, right? She was Krista Lynn Beverly, not Baker, Beverly. She ran everything. I never bought a car, a house, anything. She ran the show. But when I go home, it's not Krista Lynn Beverly. It's Booby. That's what I have at home. And I love Booby. And when the red and gold ball's here, or there's an event, you will see me wheeling Booby in. For a long time, I didn't take her to church because I was like, oh my God, I got to deal with how to get her in, how to get her out. Then I was like, you know, what the heck? She loves church. The things that she loves to do, believe me, I take her to. Her line reunion, I'm taking her there. Howard University, we roll up in our wheelchair, we're there. I say all that to say that, you know, this disease is here. It's increasing, it's expanding. And we need to do a couple of things. One is raise money for research. Two, convince people to go into trials. And 3, raise awareness. Because at some point in everybody's life in this room, you're going to go through what we're going through. And my hope and my children's hope and the things that we're working on is that when you do that, resources will be there and acceptance will be there. God bless you. Thank you.